Hello Libra, welcome. I'm Ryan. Thank you for being here. This is going to be a general read. They're going to be dealing with what their intentions are towards you. Of course, everything may not resonate, so take what does and leave the rest. And for more tarot readings after this, please check out my wife's channel at Theyre Tarot. She's read you as well. Thank you. All right, let's see what's going on. Huh. Okay, so they're emphasizing and showing the two of you. Huh. Interesting. In the silence. Interesting, Libra. It's almost, what's that song? Enjoy the silence. Enjoy the silence. They're kind of showing me, the whole black and white thing, the positive, negative thing. Such a contrasting energy, which is interesting about this. It seems to be like this energy of like this, but that, but this. It's a little bit kind of like saying, for example, pros and cons. On one hand, they were so much so looking forward towards the future. On the other hand, somehow along the way, they just stopped caring about it. That is very interesting. I don't know why. It's just kind of like, where'd all that emotion, where'd all that love go? It was once there, clearly, but then now it's no longer there. And now what's interesting about this is even though I don't know how, kind of like I said, this whole opposite things, let's weigh this out, Libra. On one hand, again, they don't care. On the other hand, there's kind of like this afterthought of like, and it kind of sucks. It's like, okay. You don't care, but yet mentally when you think about it, it kind of sucks. Do tell. Do kind of explain. They're also kind of shrugging it off like, it is what it is. It is what it is. They're kind of like, well, it sucks, but it is what it is. And it's like, if you were to hear this from this person, if they kind of told you point blank, you'd be like, that doesn't sound like it sucks. You're saying it sucks, but emotionally speaking, under the undertone beneath that, it sounds like you just point blank don't give a fuck. Yeah, because it's true. They're very much so anticipating to just looking forward and getting through this. And this is where that energy of silence kind of kicks in. Like, you know what? I want to focus on myself. They're emphasizing I'm ready to move forward, but I'm also ready to focus on myself. And it's almost kind of like conversations with God right here. Or their faith, their religion, their spirituality, whatever it is they believe in, or whoever it is they believe in, or whatever it is they go to for guidance. And there's this silence. The silence between the two of you. And I don't know exactly why. It seems and feels like they are, I don't know what they're getting themselves into. Maybe they're finding a faith, spirituality, or religion, or just kind of like, a different walk of life or way of life. I don't know. But there's something between the two of you where it's like, even though it's kind of like, stillness or just blankness or silence or just energy, let's just call it energetic static. Even though everything between the two of you feels like static, it's like within that static, they're saying is like the veil that they're kind of peeking or peering through of infinite possibilities. I don't know why there's such a silent stillness or static between the two of you to the point where they're like, anything's possible, and it's like, what do you mean? That's weird. That's a little weird. And I say that because there's such a strong emphasis on their energy, but then why do they respond the way they do? Oh. I don't understand that. I'm going to say it a different way. Instead of buckle up, Libra, I'm going to say prepare your ears. Prepare your ears and prepare your heart. Or prepare your mind, whichever perspective you're coming from. This energy of anything's possible, anything can happen. Like I said, they've already emotionally checked out and mentally checked out and kind of, let's just say, energetically checked into within themselves. They're taking that time to themselves, but yet they're still kind of like, anything's possible still between me and Libra. And it's like, unfortunately, what I'm sensing from this Libra is runner. This anticipation of anything is possible, they're hoping you'll chase or pursue them or take them back somehow. But I'm not quite understanding how there's this energetic, they're hoping you'll take them back when they have already emotionally and mentally checked out. To choose to focus on themselves. To kind of dissect this, as I just saw 7:07 on the clock, to dissect this, more silence. And they're saying, I guess nothing happened. I guess Libra didn't chase me. I guess Libra didn't pursue me. I guess nothing, Libra nothing. Yet at the same time, they're kind of stressing out here. And why are they stressing out? Could it be possibly because of family matters? Could it be possibly because of a living situation? Could it be because they're beginning to, like I said, they're having conversations with God over there, just as an example. But at the same time, God's talking back. God is talking back to them. Once again, it's just an example. The problem is God's holding up a mirror. And even though initially this feels good for them to kind of check into themselves, touche, it is good to do self-work, you're also going to bring and, dig up some things inside that's not going to be fun to face. That's what's happening. They're having a moment with themselves and a realization with themselves where they're kind of, how do I say this? When they got nothing going on and they're just stuck with the silence and the static and kind of the waiting, that's when things begin to kind of stir up within them, emotionally speaking. And so it's kind of like, okay, now that you're left alone to your own devices, now that you're left alone to your own emotions and your own thoughts, initially, yes, it feels good. It's comforting to have like a little bit of energetic break, take some time to yourself to kind of kumbaya. Extended periods of time as things progress and move forward, it's almost as if they begin to kind of look at themselves a little bit differently in the mirror. And they're realizing that they've got some problems and they've got some issues. I don't necessarily feel like if there is a dynamic of between the two of you where you are living together in some sort of situation or terms, I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like there are problems and issues between the two of you because they're kind of very single-handedly pointing themselves out and they're saying, I personally have some problems and issues that I need to kind of work on. And so they're having that moment of reflection with themselves. Like, okay, they're left with themselves and they're left with their own devices and they're not too sure exactly how to feel about that, but they do realize there are some things they need to kind of do or take care of, whether it be for themselves or whether it be for the dynamic, I don't know. That's a very difficult and hard realization for them to have. I'm looking at as well 444. they're kind of just trying to steady themselves and keep their balance right now. So, bye.